Having your ants escaping all the time? Not knowing how to prevent feral ants from invading your ant setups? Well, this video is all about keeping your ants in. If you're new to ant keeping, you will definitely have these common questions that everyone asks me all the time. How do you keep them from escaping? And if you are a more experienced ant keeper, you will probably have the question of what kind of barrier suits this species the best? They can cross the powder barrier! Oh no! Don't worry, because I am going to tell you all the different types of barriers suitable for different types of ants. The first type, physical barrier. This is the most basic type of barrier that every ant keeper should know. Physical barriers are basically any type of physical obstruction that prevents the ants from escaping. In this case, slippery surface. By mixing talcum powder or baby powder with methylated alcohol, rubbing alcohol, at a 1:1 ratio, you will get a white solution which looks like milk. Mix it well and then apply it onto the surface where you want to set the barrier. You can source both these materials from your local pharmacy. One downside of this barrier is that it wears out over time. Well, basically all kinds of barrier wears out over time. But powder barrier is the fastest to wear out. This is why a lot of ant keepers turn to the second type of physical barrier called polytetrafluoroethene, which is a type of lubricating chemical known as fluon. Please subscribe. Fluon is a very effective barrier. Gives you a clean and clear outworld where you can observe the ants easily without having white powder obstructing your view. What you want to do is soak some fluon onto a cotton and apply it onto the surface. Bear this in mind, only apply it once on a surface and make sure it is not thick. If you overlap the fluon layer, the ants will be able to cross it. Some company gives you an application wand, which I don't like very much because I can't get a consistent thickness and concentration of fluon on all the surface that I apply it. By using the wand, you might waste more fluon than using a cotton. Fluon is very expensive, but is very effective for certain ant species such as Solenopsis species and Caravera species, which are fast moving. Yellow crazy ants too. Personally, in my experience, most of the ant species that I keep is able to cross fluon barrier. Campanula species, Paratrachina longicornis, Crematogaster, Pheidole, Polyrhachis divus, and also ghost ants. I personally do not recommend it because it is too expensive and not very effective towards all the ants that I keep. But lately I found a new powder solution that my friend Vincent Lim of Ant Planet is selling. It lasted very long. Even David Tan's Tetraponera rufonigra is not able to cross that barrier even after 1 or 2 months. David, also from Ant Planet, said that the powder is very slippery, but at the same time, the ant seems to not want to touch the barrier. That's what makes it have a long service life. I made a video of their showroom previously, so be sure to check that video out as well if you have not. I'll leave the link to my friend's page in the description box below so that if you want to get this powder barrier, you can contact him directly. The second type of barrier is the hazard barrier. These barriers literally pose potential threat that the ants recognize and ants hopefully stay away from. Sticky or greasy surfaces such as machinery grease or Vaseline will prevent ants from walking on it because they don't want to get stuck on it. Ants will instinctively cover up these surfaces with debris allowing them to walk on it without getting stuck. Therefore, if you are using this kind of barrier, make sure your outworld is debris free. These sticky surfaces are only good for slow-moving ants, such as Echophila smaragdina or other Camponotus species. Black crazy ants is able to walk through Vaseline without breaking a sweat. In fact, they are able to carry the Vaseline on their feet and walk it over the other surfaces, causing any other surface that they walk on greasy. Another type of hazard barrier is water. Ants such as Echophila smaragdina don't swim nor make rafts like fire ants. So if you build an island mode formicarium, they will not be able to escape. But living in the tropics, most of our ant species can swim, such as Solenopsis geminata, Paratrachina longicornis, Anoplolepis gracilepis, Tetraponera rufonigra, Polyrhachis divus, Camponotus oriventris, and definitely some other species that I have not encountered yet. Perhaps adding soap in the water will break the water surface tension and the ants will not be able to swim on it. What do you guys think? I haven't tried that yet. Let me know if you have tried it and it is successful on which species that you use on. Okay guys, so before we move into the third, which is also the final barrier, I want to talk a little bit about my Patreon page. Well, if you are a subscriber and you watched my previous videos, you might notice that I have a plugin of my Patreon page in the end of my video. So if you want to get involved with more of my contents, you can actually go to my Patreon page where I usually ask questions on what should I do with my pets, or I basically ask for suggestions there. And you can actually give me suggestions, give me your answers in my Patreon page. I also post all the first-hand updates of my pets in my Patreon page instead of my Instagram now, which you can get all the first-hand updates there immediately before everyone else knows and even before I upload a video. You will also be able to find all the behind the scenes of how I film and also sometimes the bloopers as well of my video production process.
Oh!
All of these contents are open access. It's free. But if you want to chip in $1 or $2 to support me even more, you have my deepest gratitude. It really means a lot to me. But if you don't want to do so, it's fine, it's absolutely fine. Having you to watch my videos and subscribe to my YouTube channel, it already meant a lot to me. So that's it about my Patreon page. Without further ado, let's proceed to the third, which is also the final barrier. Chemical barrier. This barrier works on the basis of deterring ants from effectively laying pheromone trails. We all know that ants communicate with pheromone. If we are able to disrupt their pheromone at the barrier, the ants will probably not want to go near the barrier. Chemicals such as WD-40 lubricant, gear grease, and any other chemicals with strong smell should be able to do the job. I have tried WD-40 on my Solenopsis geminata colony. It works, but it doesn't last long. These lubricants sometimes evaporates quickly and lost its smell. Bear this in mind, any oil-based barrier will make the application of water-based barrier in the future impossible on the same surface. As we all know, oil is hydrophobic.
Alright, so I'm trying to remake the incident of where I said that by using WD-40, my fire ants is not able to escape. I tried it with Carabera diversa. A few days ago, I tried it with this setup, but it failed. I mean, after I apply the WD-40, I pour the ants in and they panic and they are able to cross everything. So it doesn't work. Probably because it is very shallow, so I changed to Vaseline. Alright, bear in mind, I didn't mention in the previous part, is that Vaseline it is sticky. The ants still can cross it, just that it is a matter whether they want to cross it or not. So it is always better to have double layer of protection. Probably because it is the WD-40 failed, probably it's because it's too thin. But for this, I'm trying it again. This whole wall is WD-40. I've applied WD-40 throughout the whole wall, and it seems very promising, where the ants doesn't want to get near the wall. They don't want to climb, except some of them who wanted to climb. But you see, yep, there's an ant that climbed. Focus, phone, focus. So we can see that Carabera diversa, alright, they just move along the corners, the edges. I can say that they don't like the smell. But is WD-40 a good way to keep your ants in and not escape? I don't think so, because the smell will eventually wear off. So if you want to use WD-40, probably you can apply an inch or two at the wall, and then on top, probably here, and then here you can apply the baby powder barrier, and on the top probably you can apply Vaseline, so that there will be multiple layers of anti-escape, so the ants will be contained in. Like in this situation, there are very few ants on the wall, only a few, but they can still escape if they want to. So just to confirm that with you.
Well, some people that I know use a combination of two different types of barriers, usually physical and hazard barrier. But as a final concluding word, no one anti-escape method can keep all ants from escaping. Different ant species will have different characteristics, and you will need different methods to keep them in. Likewise in life, there is no one-size-fits-all solution. We need to experiment and trial and error in order to get the optimized solutions to the problems we face every day. And this is how we learn new stuff. Thanks for watching this video until the very end. I truly appreciate your support, especially when you hit the like button and subscribe button if you are new here. This video is a part of the Ant Keeping 101 video. If you are interested in ant keeping, be sure to watch the rest of the playlist so that you will be able to know more about ant keeping before getting into it. The quality may not look very good, but I can assure you that the information is very comprehensive. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!